hopped on, this meeting is being recorded, and so we will post it on our website after we're all after it's done for future use. And we're just so glad to have you all on the call this morning. For those of you I don't know, I'm Lindsay Gleason-Reed. I am the Assistant Director at the Community Foundation of the New River Valley. And one of my responsibilities is to help put together our third Thursday sessions, which happen typically the third Thursday of each month. These sessions are free and open. They're directed at nonprofit partners, but anyone who's interested in the topic is always welcome to join us. So just glad to have you here. Typically, for convenience, we have these on Zoom, and it's nice to be able to, share the recording afterward, but we do have quarterly in-person sessions. So we'll probably have at least one more this year. So looking forward to that. But thanks for being on the call today. We know everyone's schedules are different, so if you need to hop off early, that's no problem. We'll send the recording afterward. So a few announcements from the Community Foundation, and then we'll get into our panel. We have 5 great panelists today, so we just so appreciate your all's time and for joining us today. So a few Community Foundation announcements. As many of you know on the call, the Community Foundation gives out grants, and our grant applications are due tomorrow at 5 p.m. Please submit those on time. If you have last minute questions, please get those in now. We're looking forward to reading your applications. The process will unfold with committee members reading those apps, and then you'll be notified of decisions in early November. So it takes a bit of time, but just know that we're reviewing them carefully. Also, as many of you know, we just had an incredible giving day at the end of June. For the first time, our community raised more than $1 million through that event. So that was pretty exciting. That was thousands of donors and 131 nonprofits worked together to raise that amount. It was pretty amazing. I just sent a note this morning to Giving Day participants. If you could fill out our feedback form to help us plan for next year, that'd be so helpful. And then join us virtually for a celebration on July 29th to talk about successes from this year and what to do next. And then lastly, still working on what the next few Third Thursday sessions will look like, but our next one will be virtually on August 20th from 9:30 to 10:30. So I think I got all of our Community Foundation announcements. I'm getting the nod from Jess. All right. Last one is I have the captions turned on below. Sometimes they mess things up, but they get it done pretty nicely. But those are on for folks who are deaf or hard of hearing, or if you're in a loud space or can't have the volume on for something, those can be really helpful. So we have a great panel today. We have 2 folks from Virginia Tech, 2 from Radford University, and we also have someone from New River Community College. So we're looking forward to hearing about what your all roles are with your institution and how you engage with community partners. And I know we have a lot of great community partners on the call who are already doing work with your universities or interested in doing work. So looking forward to a great conversation. We have some questions pre-prepared, but we also want to make sure we save some time for questions from participants. So feel free to add those into the chat, or if you want to raise your hand, then we can note to call on you. We're happy to do that. So we'll kick things off with introductions. I'll just go around to each of our panelists, and how I'd suggest we do it is if you want to introduce yourself, your role with your institution, and then maybe share a little bit about the ways that you connect with community partners in your role. And I'll just add that to the chat and we can get started. So I'll kick things off with Meg from Virginia Tech.
Great. Hi, my name is Meg Medell. I am the program manager for service learning and civic dialogue. I work alongside with Raymond, who you'll meet in a few minutes, at VT Engage, which is the Center for Leadership and Service Learning. So mostly I'll be talking about my role as a program manager for service learning today. I've been in this role for less than a year. Raymond and I started around the same time, and A lot of what I've been doing is just trying to make those connections with community partners this year in a meaningful way that when we do m- actually do some more of the work and have the students working with the community partners, that it's intentional and successful. So that's kind of where I've been this year.
Thanks, Meg. Tae Kwang.
Hi, my name is Tae Kyong Tan. I'm the Director of International Studies and Leadership Studies at Radford University. I happen to be one of the faculty leaders with the Highlanders Center for Character and Public Impact. This is a recently developed center with a grant by the Lilly Foundation, and we are using this as a platform for uh, closer engagement with our community partners because there's a belief that character development among our students stem from dealing with real life problems, dealing with the adversity, the things that you're very familiar with in the management of your nonprofit organizations. And I'm a faculty member, so if you engage Radford University, I'm likely the kind of person that you'll be interacting with because I'll be bringing my expertise, the students, and their energy and their research to bear on the problems that matter to you. My 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 past association is with a few organizations. The city of Galax Fire and Rescue. I did a consultancy project for them when they were losing a lot of their youth volunteers, because of the flight of young people from our cities, and also with the Radford Fallon Daily Bread, which is a food bank for the local community. That I my students and I did some projects for them because they have a leaking roof that the landlord was not willing or able to fix. Yeah, thank you.
That's great. We love Radford Daily Bread here, so glad you've been working with them. Dee Dee, please go ahead.
Yes, good morning. I am Dee Dee Kennedy, and I serve as the executive director for the New River Community College Educational Foundation. And prior to that role, I was our Dean of Student Services for a number of years. So being able to take the student services lens, bring that forward into the foundation has been very beneficial for me. So the probably we work with community partners in a lot of ways, but probably the main way is through our ACE program, and that's our Access to Community College Education program. And this is a private public partnership where we are able to go into all of our service region high schools. And so New River Service Region consists of the counties of Floyd, Giles, Montgomery, Pulaski, and the city of Radford, and tell graduating high school seniors and homeschool seniors, private school seniors, that they have an opportunity to come to New River for 2 years debt free. And so, what we do is we do through fundraising, through the funding that comes in from our localities, we are able to fund students' tuition up to 15 credits a semester, up to a maximum of 60 credits over the course of 2 years for these students to attend New River Community College. Now, the ACE funding is last dollar funding, so the students are required to complete the federal application for student aid to determine, number one, do they qualify for federal and or state grants? And then ACE makes up that difference if they don't qualify. And so, but the biggest thing that one of the biggest impacts of ACE is that these students, because of this funding, they are required to give back to their communities. So, in 4 of our localities, they're required to perform 80 hours of volunteer service and in per academic year. And in Giles, it's 100 hours. And so, what these students do is each locality manages this, but they work with nonprofits for these students to be able to go and do their volunteer service as a way to pay it forward and also to pay it back to their communities. And so we always are looking for nonprofits who are wanting to provide these A students with an opportunity to be able to learn, to do great work, and just like I said, to really pay it forward.
Thank you, Edie. It's such an amazing program. Monza, we'd love to hear from you.
Hi everyone. So my name is Mansa Assam. I'm the new assistant director of leadership and community engagement at Radford. So what this role is that it falls directly underneath student affairs, that is student involvement. And my role is basically in three layers, meaning that I work with students directly, I work with partners on campus. So when I mean partners on campus, faculty and staff, those that are already involved in some form of community engagement and civic. And I also work with community partners. So recently I have been in contact with a couple of our community partners like Mountain Humane. The names are a little bit jumbled in my head. And NRVCS, Women's Resource Center, and all that, trying to understand how they work and how we can all form partnership that is based on mutual benefit and respect. So that's what I've been doing. And overall, I have also taken the traditional event that occur on campus, and I'm the one managing it right now. So we do have traditional events that are community based. Some of them are Radford Gives Back. So what that means is that the entire campus, we work a lot collaboratively with community partners just to support the community. So Radford Gives Back is one of our events that is going to happen in October. We do collection of canned food and then also donate it to the community. So that's one of our biggest events. We also work with the city of Radford in terms of supporting them with one of their events, Renew the New, just to clean the new River Valley rivers and all that. We also handle the Martin Luther King, Day of Service. And that's how we also get to work with the community and also give back to the community. So that's essentially what I do in my role, supporting students, the community, partners on campus, as well as partners in general out there.
Thanks, Masa. Such a wide range of things that you're doing. That's great. And last but not least, Raymond.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Raymond Johnson. I am the engagement coordinator at VT Engage, the Center for Leadership and Service Learning. And so just to piggyback off what Meg shared earlier, Meg is often working with our faculty to make sure that they can find community-based projects for their courses, while I kind of work on the student-facing side. What service opportunities can we engage students in? And so I kind of wear two hats mainly. We have a alternative break program here where we send students to communities away from campus. Any academic break, Thanksgiving, winter, spring, summer, to go to different communities, work with different community partners with their needs. But then also the other hat that I wear is kind of like trying to find connections within the New River Valley alongside Meg with different nonprofits and community organizations to foster some opportunities for our students to do locally here. And so for this upcoming academic year, we actually have a goal to host at least one service opportunity per month for students, open to any student to sign up for and engage with a community partner on that monthly basis. And so a lot of the times, how we engage has been very much sending out emails, trying to just start conversations, going to the community partner spaces to learn about what they do for the community and seeing what possible partnerships can be formed. And so overall, our goal as a center is to make sure we can equip our students as future civic leaders. And so we hope that with those partnerships that we form, we're able to facilitate those kind of foundational experiences to their growth as leaders. So yeah.
Wow, I feel like everyone has such a wide-ranging job, which is probably a testament to your great skill set, but also the nature of working at a university. You have your hands in all kinds of things. Um, so thank you all so much, and you're all doing such interesting work. So, and I think you touched on this a little bit, but if folks want to go into more depth about thinking about what the goal of your work is, and but then how you see partnering with community organizations to benefit the university. So I'll add that uh, those questions into the chat. Let's see if I can copy and paste. And I'll call on Mansa first. I was just recalling that she has to leave a bit early, so just want to make sure we hear from her.
Okay. So basically, as I said, is the goal of what I'm doing is to establish mutual benefit. By so doing, creating a culture of understanding and not just assuming that this is what students need, this is what the community needs, but going into in-depth, having open conversations, learning about what people really need in terms of what the student need and what the community need. So as like Raymond said, I myself, I have also been going into the community, working extensively with the community partners, trying to understand exactly what they are into, not assuming that I go on their website, read about their organizational beliefs and policies and whatnot. I really delve into deep conversations with them to ask them how partnerships with them would be beneficial, having in mind what Radford University also stands for in terms of our strategic plan from 2025 all the way to 2030. So we strictly go by those guidelines to ensure that we are actually establishing mutual benefit that would benefit the student as well as the community. We do not want situations whereby students will find themselves in the community trying to, you know, support the community, but then it would rather elapse into negative vibes or things that would not benefit the students and then the community. So in order to also make sure that we've established those basic principles, we also engage in reflections with the community partners as well as the student themselves when they come back um, from engaging with the community. So basically, that's what we are doing, and we hope that it would stay beneficial. I think the second part of your question is how do you see partnering with community organizations benefiting the university? At the end of the day, we want our students to be mindful of their leadership skills. We want them to develop leadership skills that would benefit themselves, the community. We want them to, you know, you know, really cringe in on their communication skills. We want them to develop a culture of care, and that's our motto that we usually use on campus. It's part of our values, even under student involvement and student affairs. We just don't want to always have that in writing. It says that action speaks louder than words. So we want our students to emulate that, the culture of care, the principles behind it. And we believe that the only way that we can achieve that is when students truly work with community partners where their interest lies, not forcing them to have those interactions with the community just because they have to fill a grade or they have to pass something, but truly get involved with the community based on interest and also love for people and what they can do. Be good, active citizens, not just passive ones. So I don't want to talk too much. Also, leave it for someone to speak.
I appreciate that, Mansa. Enacting those values, not just having them on paper. It's so important. Um, Raymond, would you want to share a little bit more about the goal of your work and how you see partnering with community organizations benefiting Virginia Tech?
Yeah, sure. Monza uh, would love to copy and paste everything you said as well. We very much have alignment and goals. I'll just kind of start off with saying, the motto of our university is Ut Prosum, and for those of you who are not fluent in Latin, it just simply translates to that I may serve, right? And so, with that motto, trying to have that instilled into all of our students who come to Virginia Tech through whatever different experiences that we're able to offer to them. And so that is truly what we're trying to do at the end of the day, whether it's working with a community partner to serve for a day, whether it's a prolonged experience with going to our dining halls on campus, taking any unused food, and then uh, then taking that to local food pantries or engaging in any of our civic engagement or leadership development experiences. And so we truly just want our students to make sure that they're able to take advantage of being in such a wonderful place that is filled with different nonprofits that care about the community, and making sure that not only that we are supporting the nonprofits, but our students and the university as a whole understand the important work that they do on an everyday basis.
Absolutely, Raymond. Thank you. Dee Dee.
Yes. The goal of the work that we do with the Educational Foundation, specifically the ACE program, is really helping students see that college is accessible. Many of the students in the ACE program would be planning to come to college regardless. But what that's done when you're able to walk into a high school and tell students in that graduating class, any one of you can come to New River. That really changes the game, especially when we think about some of our first generation college students who never really thought or saw college as a possibility. So we're opening doors. And so number one, that is extremely important. And it's a stepping stone for students who do want to go on to Radford University or Virginia Tech. So we're providing the platform that they need. But as far as partnering with the community organizations and that benefiting us at the college, I think about the majority of community college students nationwide want to stay and live in the community in which they were raised. And so for us at New River and in our region here within the New River Valley, we exceed national averages quite a bit with over 82% of our students staying and living here in the New River Valley. So being able to connect them at a young age with community organizations, helping them to understand what these organizations do, providing them with the opportunities to volunteer and to give back. And in the same things that Mansa and Raymond had said, understanding that, having that heart for service and realizing that they're not in a bubble, but they're part of a much larger ecosystem that needs their support, that needs their help, and later on, hopefully instilling with some of these young people to become community leaders as they continue to live and work and give back within their communities. And one last thing I'll just add really quickly. We really believe when you see the word community in community colleges, we fully embrace that. We are part of our community. We are in the footprint of all of the New River Valley. And so we just see that as that strength that, where we must work with our communities because when we are successful, when Radford is successful, when Virginia Tech is successful, our whole region is successful.
Absolutely. And that's such an interesting statistic of talking about how the majority of folks want to stay in their region, but you also need job opportunities and that infrastructure. And so it kind of speaks to what Take Long referenced earlier with your work in Galax, it sounds like, of youth leaving. So this is just an interesting way to kind of approach that indirectly. So I'll pass it over to you, Tae Kwong. I don't know if you have more to add what other folks have been sharing.
Yeah, I just want to say that the goals and interests of Radford University in partnership with nonprofit organizations is twofold. In fact, threefold. The first is that we want our curriculum to remain honest. Yeah, so the engagement of real life problems build character in our students. It practice also builds skills that enable our students to be better problem solvers, more ready for the practice of their professions when they graduate. The second goal for the university is that these partnerships help us make our curriculum really kind of embedded and contextualized within the community, which is very important for Radford University. We are part of the community. We want our curriculum and our students to be engaged in the locality, and we would like our practice to be as realistic as possible, to the problems and situations that we are planted in, in a region that we are planted in. And the third is for the community partners and the region itself. We would like to develop what I believe to be kind of civically literate citizens, students who are aware of what is going on in the community, so that some of them might, like many of you, go into public service, do something good for the community when they graduate. And this would be a fantastic opportunity because during their learning as students, they begin to form their professional character, what they like, where they like to pursue their careers. And I think those will put them in a good place when they go out to the place of work when they graduate. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Forming the professional character. I like the way you put that. And just thinking about how all the work that you all are doing, I think so often Dee Dee referenced, students aren't in a bubble, but it can feel like that sometimes in college. And that can be part of the fun of college, the fun culture that you have on campus. But all of the work that you all are doing is a reminder of you live in a community and with real amazing things happening and some issues as well that we all need to work on together. And so I just imagine you all engage with some really interesting students through your work. Meg, I know that Raymond already shared a bit, but I don't know if you have more to add to this question.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I would say ditto, 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 ditto to all the speakers. They all said something that I would have said. I would just add that I feel like when we talk about your organizations and your institutions, and I think a lot of the speakers already alluded to this, but really getting to know and understand your needs, but not just the community partners' needs, but those that you serve, what their needs are, understanding those, and understanding that you are also people, the people that are running these organizations. So really, making that strong connection. And then I also would piggyback on what Tay said as well, in regards to building the civic character, and that we actually also we're in the stages of a capacity building grant with the same grant that Radford and Tay and his team received. So I'm in a cohort working with academic fairs of how we can bridge student affairs and academic affairs. And the title of our proposal was Uprosum in Action, Cultivating Civic Virtue for Human Flourishing. So that, as far as what personally, like one of my goals, we want to involve the community in that as well. As Dee Dee alluded, like we are part of the community as long, and having the students understand that. The other piece that I would add is that I love that students want to do this just to serve their community. I would love for them to all want to go into nonprofit work. Unfortunately, that's not necessarily the case. So even having them understand that they can still do the work, even if they are an engineer at a big firm, they can still be involved in their community no matter where they are. And so I think that's a really important piece as well.
I appreciate that, Meg. I mean, I'm a big proponent of joining the nonprofit world, but just knowing that students will go off in all kinds of different directions, but thinking about, building that character, being civically literate citizens, and the kind of the some of the foundational work that you all are doing to help students, no matter their career, is just so important.
And they
So,
essentially are building their career building skill.
mhm.
Everything they're doing out in the community is helping the nonprofits, but it's also helping their resume, and
For
they want to
sure.
hear that.
Yeah, for sure. It's twofold.
Yeah.
Mm. So let's share some specifics. So if folks want to share about an example of a successful partner, and I'm adding this to the chat, and when you think about why you feel like it was successful, why was it successful for both your institution and the community partner? So I'll pass it back over to Tae Kwang.
Thank you, Lindsay. I think partnership requires a two-way kind of mutual alignment of interests and goals. And so, from my own experience, engaging community partners is that the most successful ones it enable rigorous student research and the faculty to bring to bear his or her expertise to the issues and problems at hand. But also the community partner would have a genuine problem to solve or a genuine need, even if it's perceived, even if it's just, oh, yeah, we have a morale problem, it's perceived and it's not true. As long as you believe the problem exists, I think there is a coincidence of ones that could be match made between uh, the the students and the faculty and the community partners, yeah, to make it work. I want to say a few things from my experience. Uh, a lot of it depends on the real interest on both parties, yeah, whether the problem is one that keeps the nonprofit leader awake at night, or the students and the faculty really feel that they have some personal interest or professional uh, stake in the problems at hand. So that requires a kind of a clearinghouse for matchmaking projects with faculty and student teams. And for Radford University, we have a number of organizations. Mensa mentioned before, but also the Highlander Center for Character and Public Impact has got a strong connections throughout the university. It has our new director, Heather Keefe, is able to connect interested partners with faculty student teams who will work intently with you over the period of a semester, maybe longer. I'm not sure. To kind of advance, yeah, your interest in solving those problems that you perceive you might have. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And it sounds like the center is off and running to do some really interesting work. So just looking forward to see where it goes. Um, uh, Dee Dee, I'll throw it over to you to hear from your perspective.
Absolutely. We've seen our A students have lots of successful partnerships with various organizations, but one I'll highlight was in Montgomery County a few years ago, and there was a need for volunteers within the EMS world, volunteers firefighters and working with our local rescue squads and so forth. And so Montgomery County put forth an effort to get as many A students who wanted to volunteer with these organizations throughout the entire county. And so what that has done, and we had a lot of student interest in that. So what that's done is not only it's exposed students to these real world volunteer situations, but also that has led to these students staying on and filling gaps in this volunteer workforce that the county needed.
Wow, and that's so important. I feel like you hear pretty often EMS firefighters are looking for more volunteers, and what a great project for those folks. Raymond.
Yeah, so the example that kind of comes to my mind, this past year I helped assist with advising the big event, which is our kind of signature day of service in the spring. And so for this past year, we actually had about 6,500 students registered to be volunteers on the day of, and about 1,000 projects throughout the New River Valley, mainly that were homeowner based. And so one of the problems we ran into this year is that we actually ran out of projects because there was a lot more volunteers who actually showed up on the day of. So next year we'll be preparing for that. But a specific partnership that comes to mind too is that we worked with first the town of Blacksburg's Parks and Natural Lands coordinator who aligned his Earth Day kind of service project to be the same day as a big event. And so he had about three groups of students that went out and helped plant trees in public lands throughout Blacksburg, well as we were looking to make sure that all students had an accessible service opportunity in case they couldn't do any physical work at some of the homeowners' properties. And so we worked with Volunteer Montgomery to kind of help make letters that would go to some of our senior communities. And so since we had a shortage of projects, we had about 100 students that were then sent to a room on campus to make letters, very creative, different ways of just sharing their support and love for seniors in the community. And then handed those to Volunteer Montgomery to distribute. And so those are kind of what come to mind for a pretty successful relationship with a partner in the area.
That's great, Raymond, and always a good problem to have too many volunteers. So I'm glad you were able to channel that energy. And also, just thinking about the big event in general, it is a lot of physical work. So really love the idea of having other options for folks who might not be able to participate that way, so everyone can stay involved. That's great. Meg, how about you?
Yeah, so like I've said before, and that this was kind of a year for me to really be intentional about meeting with community partners to ensure our future success. But one area that I hope to be reporting about next year as a success is we received a grant that will allow us to give 18 to 20 mini grants to Virginia Tech students to transform some of their ideas into meaningful service. It's the grants will provide funding for those students to design, implement, and lead a service initiative that addresses a community identified need. And we want them to have, as part of the application process, have already been talking to their partnerships and their partners. And so I'm kind of just putting that out there because I'm sure many of you have worked with students and they have shared, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could do such and such? So keep that in the back of your mind. And if you that application for that mini grant will go live in August, August 10th. And so if you know of any students that you've already been working with and they just haven't, they've had this great grand idea, and you're in the back of your mind, you're thinking, yeah, well, that's going to cost a few $100s, or that's going to require extra resources. That's what this grant is for. Those students who want to kind of go the extra mile and be able to go a little bit further with that. And I would also say to Dee Dee, if you know of any students who've transferred into Virginia Tech from your program who you think would benefit from that, I will share all that information when it goes live.
That's exciting. I love a mini grant process. Um, so I was just reminded that we have a couple of students on the call, Courtney and Therese, and we're very fortunate at the Community Foundation. Therese is actually an intern with us and is doing some amazing work. And she and Courtney are going to share a little bit about what a student work can look like in action.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Courtney McMahon, and I am a junior at Radford University pursuing a bachelor's in marketing. However, I am also a research rookie, and me and Therese worked together on a project. It started as a very simple Wicked project. I mean, it's not really simple, but it was initially a Wicked project that we wanted to turn into something more. So, right now we're currently working with the surf grant with Dr. Joe Wergo, who is our mentor above the research rookies. And what we're trying to work towards is a tri-liaison model for all three schools in Montgomery County. So New River Community College, Virginia Tech, and of course Radford, where we can work with regional housing organizations. And our goal is to make sure that student perspectives are heard. So, Teresa, I don't know if you have anything else that you want to add.
Yeah, sure. So, our project is also being like mentored primarily by Dr. Heather Keith, the director for the Center for Character and Public Impact at Radford University. And I'm really grateful that Dr. Jess and Lindsay allowed us to hop on today because we just wanted to learn more about different stakeholders in higher education that work with community partners here in the New River Valley to see where people that we can potentially connect to in order to hopefully have our tri-liaison model actually become something because we want to build a relationship between the three higher education institutions here in the New River Valley. I was especially excited to hear Meg about like the mini grant initiative that Tech is doing because I saw that and I was like, oh my God, that'd be a great way to get a student involved with the work that we're doing because primarily with that partnership, we want it to be through a student. We want to have one student representing each higher education institution. So we're really just here to see what kind of relationships we can build and what kind of people we can reach out to. So thank you all for sharing. Appreciate it.
Yes, and hi, Dee Dee. I don't know if you remember me. I started at NRCC, so
Yes, I do. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so wonderful to see you.
it is wonderful to see you as well. I was excited to see you were on this call, so.
Yes.
I love that making the continuing connections. And Courtney, it sounds like this idea emerged from and I might get some of the details wrong, but Radford University puts on the Wicked Festival every spring. And it's student groups working together to talk about wicked problems in our society, so intractable issues, and kind of proposing ideas on how to address those. Am I getting that right?
You are getting it right. And so our initial thought process on it when we started looking into the unhoused population in the New River Valley was let's start within our community, let's start with students. And we tend to find that there is a multitude of students that are couch surfing or maybe even sleeping in cars. And so their voices are not being heard. And we all know that if a student does not have stable housing, the chances of them failing or dropping out of school is very high. So when we found this out, we originally started with like, oh, let's kick it off with a student-led coalition. However, we've kind of like ran into some things where I don't know that it would work out like that. And that's why we're going for this tri-liaison model, just so we can get everybody to connect together and work together so that way no student is missed.
I appreciate that. It's such an important issue, and often, like hunger on campus, it can be really hidden if you just interact with a student in class or a classmate in class. And so, just looking forward to hearing what's next with the two of you. Thank you both for sharing.
Thank you for having us.
So I know we're getting sort of close to time. So how about I kind of put this question out to our panelists and folks can share if they wish. And we won't do round robin, but what do you see as the biggest challenges to connecting higher ed and community partner from your perspectives? Um, and feel free to unmute.
I'll go ahead and answer. It's real quick. I feel like it's a timing thing. When I meet with community partners and they have, sometimes they have an immediate need and they're, desperate. Other times it is, have this project coming up and I'm finding that, and then also when I meet with campus partners to be a resource for them and hear what their needs are for their courses, just getting the timing to work. It seems like they could be a perfect match, right match, just wrong time. So I'm kind of running into that a lot.
Yeah, it can be ships passing in the night sometimes, and so trying to make it work can be challenging. Take one.
Yeah, I'd like to add to what Mac has just said about timing. The university operates on a kind of a semester basis, but your problems do not get solved within a semester typically. It goes on, and therefore, the need for continuity, there could be a disconnect between the students, in a course with a faculty member and the problem-solving timeline within a nonprofit organization. The second one is probably capacity. I know all of you have real work. You do this in engaging students and faculty members on the side, and therefore it is often hard for a nonprofit organization to carve out the capacity to work with us, like answer stupid questions that we may have about this and that as students learn, as faculty members get to know the organization. So this process requires a time and commitment and possibly resources that the organizations have to put in place, yeah, for a meaningful partnership. And I think the third one is the idea that um, uh, in my experience with the Galax fire and rescue and the Radford Fallon Daily Bread, the connections are personal. When the faculty member leaves, yeah, or go to do something else, does research or do something else, then the connection wanes and the the partnership is not sustained. And therefore, I'm very hopeful that the Highlander Center for Character and Public Impact, which is now institutionalized itself as a clearinghouse of requests, yeah, from the community, could 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 systematize and institutionalize these partnerships that we may form with your organizations in the community. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I think probably from the community partner side of one of the big challenges can be knowing who to ask. Where at this giant institution do you go for someone who's interested and wants to partner for sure. Other panelists thinking about challenges, if you have anything to add.
I'll just kind of piggyback onto what everybody has said so far, the timing, and then also what you just said, Lindsay, about who to connect with. And I can understand that would be so for us with the ACE program, each of our 4 counties and then Radford City, they each have their own volunteer coordinator who manages the ACE hours for students. So that isn't something specifically that we do at New River. However, if there are any partners who are on here who are not benefiting from our ACE students and the volunteer service, please reach out to me. And then what I'll do is connect you with the localities and who those coordinators are. And the timing is difficult. We encourage the students, they have to have a minimum of 40 hours of community service done by August 1. So when they finish high school mid-May, and then they need to get 40 hours done by August 1. so that, and some of them try to get all 80 hours done in the summer so they don't have to focus on it while they're in school. But sometimes we could use more partners throughout the summer to be able to connect students, because if a student reaches out to an organization and let's say there's a week or two delay in response because folks are busy, they're managing multiple things, that delays that student from being able to get started on their hours. So I would say just the timing, and then also, like I said, reach out to me and I will connect you with our volunteer coordinators in the community.
That's great to know about kind of that crunch time that folks have to get those hours done. And we would be happy to we have a newsletter that sends out to about 1,800 folks. We'd be happy to put a note in there, Dee Dee, if that's useful to you, maybe in the springtime of if you have interest, reach out to Dee Dee. I don't want to overwhelm you with requests, but certainly we're in touch with a lot of nonprofit partners that way. That would be useful.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
For sure. Raymond, do you have anything to add on challenges?
No, everything folks have shared, yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
ditto. Um, so last one is looking forward to the next year. Somehow it's already mid-July. I don't know if anyone else is confused about how we got here. But students will be back on campus in the coming weeks with some of them who arrive early. So they're coming back soonish. So how do you all see yourself connecting with community partners over the next year? And how might partners on this call help with that? So again, if folks just want to speak up, please go ahead.
I'm going to go first again, sorry, because I have to pop up and run across campus. But I'll just reiterate that if you know of any students, it does have to be the mini grants I was talking about, the students have to initiate it. So it needs to come from them. So if you know of any students and want more information about that, to reach out and to please let me know. And the other thing would be as far as the UPRO and Action Capacity Building Grant this year, if that sounds like something that you would be interested in sharing your voice. Like I said, we are going to engage community partners, so please also let me know about that. And I'll just
I
say
want
hi
to
and thank you.
go ahead, Annette.
Thanks, Meg. And I'll just jump in real quickly. For folks on the call, I'll chat with the panelists after this just to see the best way to connect with you all. I'm happy to share your emails, but just want to check in first of the best way to reach out to your various offices. So more to come there. And Tae Kwang, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. So the Highlander Center for Character and Public Impact, under the leadership of Dr. Heather Keefe, is ready to receive any request that you might have. And Radford University has got talented faculty and students, and I believe there is a possibility for good connection if the proposal comes from the nonprofit that could be operationalized into something that we are able to assist with. Yeah, and I want to add just a small thing. From my past experience, it's not easy to translate academic output into practical solutions and recommendations. Yeah, it doesn't always come that way easily. So the work that is produced by students, even with a lot of editing and additions from the faculty member, needs to be translated, needs to be taken in and translated into something that's actionable, because we cannot be involved in implementation. And therefore, this is something that you have to take in consideration in your request. But I think from my past experience with the Galax Fire Department, as well as the Radford Fallon Daily Bread, there is possibility for a true partnership, especially when the community members come up with a compelling problem that needs to be solved. I think we will find a suitable partner to assist in a problem that keeps you up at night. Thank you.
Thanks. I appreciate the mention of translating academic work into actionable items. It makes sense and absolutely. And just seeing folks in the chat, Jocelyn, agree on, Jocelyn shared, I would love to have nonprofit perspective a bit more on this call, and absolutely. I was realizing when we were chatting with our panelists, it's always tricky to have a balance of both. What we were hoping to do on this call was to focus on who's working at the different institutions, and connecting with partners. And then what we're hoping to do, as Jess mentioned in the chat, is we're hoping to have some follow-up conversations on this topic, and have it hearing more from the community partner side. So thank you so much for those additions, Jocelyn. Um, any other folks on thinking about what you're looking forward to this year and how partners on this call might help?
I'll go next. So like mentioned earlier, our office has a goal of trying to make sure we provide at least one local service opportunity per month for this upcoming academic year. So we're looking mainly at weekends because we understand that students have busy academic and extracurricular schedules. But if your nonprofit or organization has an event, either we're looking mainly at Saturdays, but are open to Sunday events as well. If you have an event during that time frame and you are looking for support, uh, feel free to reach out. We will do our best to kind of see how our how we would be able to connect, um, not only through having these one per month events, but also utilizing our connections with a lot of the folks on campus. We have several service fraternity and sororities on campus that are always looking for opportunities. We have several groups, clubs, RSOs, and just individuals that will email me and be like, "Hey, I want to get more involved in the community. Who can you connect me with?" And so I'm always willing to be on a listserv for any organization that sends things out regularly. Always looking through any opportunities and happy to kind of play that middleman between our nonprofits in the area and our students. So yeah.
Thanks so much, Raymond. So folks, thank you so much for joining today. I know we're close to time, and like we mentioned, would love to continue this conversation. There's we with the third Thursday topics, we could probably have a whole year of community higher ed conversations, right? There's so much to dig into and so much great work happening both at the universities and at our nonprofit partners. And I would definitely would love to hear more from our nonprofits next time, but just so appreciate all our higher ed folks on the call today. It's just really interesting to hear about the work that you're doing, and I appreciate the thoughtfulness and intention behind it. It's so important to go into the work that way and think about how the work you can do can benefit everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. And we hope to see you all on future calls. If you don't get the Community Foundation's nonprofit e-news each month, I recommend that you sign up. And I'll send that link in my follow-up email, along with links on how to connect to these folks, to make sure the conversation doesn't end here. And there's so much great work being done at the nonprofits on this call, and I would imagine there's great partnerships that are could come out of this call. So thank you all so much for joining us, and to be continued. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.